Now let's move on to you and your lovely wife, your amazing, beautiful wife, who is also named Elena. And this is, I'm married to Elena, Nick's married to Elena, so there's
we're both Russian.
Nick and I have a group. It's a non-Russian men married to Russian women group.
Therapy.
Jonathan Roberts has got
yes.
part of that as well.
So
how's that going, guys?
With the group?
Oh yeah.
Our group is excellent. I mean, every party we have, the 3 English-speaking people sit around and talk about the Russians.
Now, you and your lovely wife not only run a costume shop together. Lenique.
Which is Lena and Nick.
Which in French means to be.
Really?
Now, are you guys costuming some of the dancers on Dancing with the Stars that we see on TV?
Okay, so historically, yes, we have done. When the season first started, we were approached to make costumes for the show. So we did supply menswear for seasons 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Going into 6, things changed. We started doing some of the ladies' costumes. Lena actually ended up working as an assistant designer on the show. But at the end of the day, the way that she likes to work did not suit the way that the television likes to work. When you're involved in the first couple of seasons, they weren't unionised. So because it was a brand new show, the union really wasn't involved. Once the union got involved, and I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, but everything changed. I mean, my wife is hands-on. She wants to pin, drape, cut, do it all herself because that's what she's used to doing with dance costumes. The problem was that her hands were tied. She wasn't allowed to pin anything. She had to tell somebody what to do all the time. And of course, that just took too much time. You know, she likes to bang things out. I mean,
and then you have to redo things anyway.
And she'd be, they'd do it for her, and then she'd go out the back and redo it all again. Because, one of the most important things that a lot of real-world costumers don't know about is basically the whole idea of the costume has to undergo an Olympic challenging, artistic sport and stay together.
And we can't have any wardrobe malfunctions. Exactly. Wow. Yeah. But you did do the ones in Vegas.
We did supply the costumes most recently for the Dancing with the Stars show at Tropicana in Vegas. Yes.
They do costuming for So You Think You Can Dance,
We
right?
have done that. We did the first 4 or 5 seasons. Lena was the costume designer on the show, just for the boring costumes.
So they do it all.
Yeah.
Wow. And she did
they used to sponsor us when I dance with Max and when I dance with Tony.
And your wedding dress.
And I believe the wedding dress.
Yes, yes.
We have a picture coming up shortly.
Oh, but don't switch the picture. I have a question. Because it's an Emmy picture,
actually,
red carpet, so I know you've been nominated for an Emmy Award. Tell us about that.
Well, what I didn't pick up on was that why people didn't pick up on this, because most of the Dancing with the Stars people are not supposed to have outside people choreographing and coaching for you. But I was actually nominated for an Emmy Award for my choreography by one of the other couples. So I did their choreography and they went on to be successful on that particular season of Dancing with the Stars.
Which is not allowed anymore, isn't it?
I don't believe it was allowed from the beginning.
Yeah, but
now I don't know. I mean, no one's come up to me and say you can't do this.
Who was it that nominated you?
Well, it was 2 nominations. Thriller. And then it was also Max and Tia's Tango.
Thriller was Drew and Cheryl.
But Drew and Cheryl was there because I worked mostly with Drew and Cheryl on that season, along with another person who was helping out doing choreography for them.
Well, that brings us to a question that one of our fans coming.
Kiwi.
Rid Hillis wrote. Okay, so tell me, who are you coaching this season?
Well,
okay, fine.
Okay,
this is going to air shortly.
There are lots of Brazilians in the world and French people.
There's a lot of Aussies.
And Aussies and Americans and also Russians. I would say that would cover most of them.
This to our Dance Junkies TV fans out there, when they show on the clip, like the package, that Wednesday morning was the first time they get together to practice after the Monday night. Baloney! After they finished Monday night's show, They're off and they're practicing. They're off and they're practicing, and they are working and training, whether it be on their own or with other coaches. And I have seen clandestine movements of some of the previous contestants on the show. So Wednesday morning, no, they've already, because it's super, super competitive.
You know, I mean, especially this season. I mean, some of the choreographers have been involved with people that have been successful on either of these shows coming up into this season. So now you've got this season, and some of those choreographers have 3 or 4 people that they've worked with.
Exactly.
And it's like, okay, how do you divide your time to make sure?
Well, let me ask you this. Now, this is a question as a fan. Okay, I've always loved Derek's choreography. I think his creativity is amazing. I would imagine that he'd be one of the ones that doesn't need as much help. There's some other dancers that I've seen that always just seems like they could use some help. Is there people that you, feel like who would never need coaching?
I would say that if I was to put all of the world champions in this room that I know of and ask them when they were at their peak in choreographing and doing whatever, they always would say we had a third eye watching us and helping us.
Yes.
Because you need a third eye. That's the bottom line. Because when you're in the movement and you're doing the movement, you can have a look in the mirror, but when you're actually performing it between 2 people, you can't be aware of looking in the mirror and looking out into the audience or whatever. You're dancing with that person. So you can't actually see what's going on, what suits you, what doesn't, what needs to be more of or less of. And if you've got a third eye there, you're going to polish the performance.
The best
and
part
that's basically what the people are looking for, is to polish their performance, because there's a lot at stake here. Some people's careers are made because of this TV show.
The best part about coaching is that people ask you, what are you showing here? And you tell them the story and they go, no, I don't see it. So that is exactly talking about that third eye.
Yeah, you need to be able to, I mean, I agree totally. Because most people, especially if they don't have a background in, for example, acting, aren't selling necessarily what they're feeling internally. And to be able to help them to channel that and bring that out so that you can put on a show, you need a third eye. You just can't do that on your own. So I've got no idea what Derek does, or who Derek works with, or doesn't work with. It would surprise me that he doesn't have anybody to work with.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I've been a fan of, I guess, his presentation. It's very creative. Some of his, always one with John and Cooper, like, was amazing.
He's very different. Let's put it this way. He's very unique.
I would say,
and
for me, I would say consistently, he probably does all of his own choreography. But I'm sure he has somebody that makes sure that everything works well. Again, you know, you're dealing with a fairly young man who, realistically, as far as teaching other people how to dance, has practically no experience, because he went from a competition environment as an amateur, suddenly involved with a show. I mean, he's got a ton of dance experience, don't get me wrong, you know, he's been on the West End and etc, etc. But to teach somebody who's never danced before how to get there, it's not an easy job. I mean, it's, you know, and every celebrity that's been on the show will attest to how much more difficult it is than what they thought it was.
So if you thought that the Patriots video date scandal was unique, no, apparently there's a lot of underhanded machinations going on in the Dancing with the Stars world as well. Well, let us talk for a minute about your professional dance career. Here's you with your lovely wife. You guys were American Smooth champions.
World champions.
World champions. His tweet is Smooth Champ. And when I first saw it, I thought it said Smooch. Like this, and I'm like, who is Smooch Champ? Some porn person tweeting me? And then I saw the picture and I'm like, oh, it's Nick. So
my God.
Smooth. SMO.
Well, they quite often call the American style of ballroom dancing smooth. So to distinguish it, I like to call it smooth. So I was the Smooth Champ, and it just seems kind of my thing, because
he did everything.
I like to be I mean, I have competed internationally in 10 dance. I mean, people in Australia always have known me as a Latin dancer, never actually a ballroom.
Latin?
Because
Really?
I was,
You
Australian,
didn't know that?
Australian
No idea.
professional Latin finalist for like 7 years. Highest I ever got was third in this.
I knew he
Partner
did
was?
10 dance, but
I had a couple of different girls, but for any of you out there that ever saw the movie Strictly Ballroom and saw the poster of Strictly Ballroom, there was a very attractive blonde young lady on there called Tina Sparkle.
yes, the
Whose
one
real name
about
was
Paso.
Sonia Kruger.
Yes.
She's actually, or was up until a year or two ago, the host of Dancing with the Stars in Australia. So I danced with her 3 times. We were Latin finalists.
That was a great movie.
I danced with her in youth. We went to Blackpool. We were in the top 12 in youth Latin. But again, I was more of the Latin boy. But I never actually had a Latin partner after I moved to America. I ended up dancing with girls that were mostly ballroom until I got with Lena. Because the first 3 years that Lena and I were together, we actually competed for Australia, representing Australia at the World 10 Dance, and we were nominated for the pro standard. But we actually danced 10 dance, but we hardly ever competed here in America because we were running around in Europe and Asia, as you do.
Oh, he's a
For
Latin
those of
boy.
you out there that are not quite as involved in the ballroom world, don't worry, I'm lost too. I mean, this is this amazing little
I was
secular
not
world.
lost, that's why I was so surprised.
That's why you're the ballroom.
Yeah.
Because, Yelena is in the ballroom world, and yet you hear these stories and you're like, oh my God, and it's such a small community. So for you guys to continue.
Well, it's a big community, but it's very close knit.
Yeah.
Everybody
knows
basically,
everybody.
somebody can be having an affair with somebody in Hong Kong, and we'll know about it
We
tomorrow
will
in
know
Jersey.
about it.
And then my friends in Iceland will, tweet me and say, "Wow, I heard about the Australian guy that's been there." And
Listen,
it
we
just
will
goes
still
on.
pretend that we don't know about it, but yes.
Yes.
Wow.
Sorry.
Well, let's talk for a second about a little movie you were involved in Shall We Dance. What was your role or capacity in that film?
I was brought in as a choreographer and teacher, coach, for one of the stars that was on the show. I guess she was a friend of Peter Chisholm's, who he had cast in the movie. She was called Winking Woman. Winking Woman. So all in all, John O'Connell, the main head choreographer on the show, I actually knew him from Australia. We've sort of gone back, going back probably 20 or 30 years, knowing the history of different things that we've been involved with. He also did Strictly Ballroom in Australia, and several other things. But anyway, I got cast as a dancer, so I was doing some dancing in the opening scenes. And there's one particular scene in the movie where they wanted to recreate a ballroom competition, where Jennifer Lopez goes to the competition as a little girl. And it was, no, not Blackpool. She goes there as a little girl. It's the first time she's ever seen a competition.
Okay.
So there's a couple dancing around, and they're the champion couple. And of course, she comments on how much she loves their dancing. And I'm dancing with this girl around the room, da 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 da. And then she turns around and winks at her, and that's Winking Woman. And I was Winking Woman's partner.
On camera.
On camera.
Awesome.
Off camera though, you were involved in.
I was helping out coaching with Richard Gere, with Susan Sarandon, and the absolutely amazing Lisa Ann Walters.
Woohoo! We love Lisa.
We do love Lisa.
And
we need to have this is shout out to Lisa Ann, because I know you watch Dance Junkies TV. We want to have you on Dance Junkies TV. We'll have to have our people talk to your people.
Which will be you and you.
Shameless non-Heineken plug.
I'm sure it's going to be caught. So.
Again, this is Ask the Pro After Hours. It's
Yes, I'm having a beer.
yeah. Which
And
it does
don't
happen.
drink Fosters.
It does happen.
Okay, that's the one
So
that's
listen,
the news that you brought.
we finally moved on to our slides. So this is a new career venture for you. For those of you who don't know, Elena and I got married a month and a half ago.
So this is me.
Yeah, there's me, and that's Nick.
No,
And
that's the clergyman.
the clergyman. And we asked Nick because if I couldn't think of anyone who would be closer to us, who I would trust or want to do that for us. And we were like, we can do something where
We
you can
didn't
get
have a second choice.
No.
That's
That's
it.
it.
It was only you. And Rip said, what if he's going to say no? I'm like, oh, I guess that's it,
I'm a sucker for these are free jokes.
Nick's good emceeing, but we were like, okay, well, here's some paperwork for how you can get, ordained and stuff, and he went and did it himself. And he did such an amazing job. The wedding was insane. They kidnapped my wife.
Which he was not part of.
I was not part of that.
Did they kidnap your wife?
When they kidnapped my wife, yes they did. At our wedding, they kidnapped her for about an hour and 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And unbeknownst to most of the people there who had lots of cash and stuff, apparently part of their tradition was they raided all of the guys, whatever money, cash they had in their wallets, they had to give that up.
So it's apparently a Russian wedding
it was
tradition.
about $12,000 or $13,000 in cash that I don't actually know.
So what happened? What happened to? Okay, no, hold on. What happened to my wedding? Why do people get chicken dances and races? Where is my $13,000? Well, what's up with that?
You need to invite friends with more cash.
We had an amazing
That's bullshit.
and Nick was incredible. So if you're looking for someone to MC your wedding or marry you, Smooth Champ @Smooth Champ. I don't know. Have you done another one yet?
No.
Not yet.
Is it scheduled anytime soon?
No, I'm still waiting.